I arrived at 30:40 p.m. with the bottle of Cabernet I'd picked up from the shop near my place, the one that always has the good stuff on the back shelf. The house smelled the same as it had every November for 30 years. Sage, butter, the faint edge of Dad's tobacco, even though he'd supposedly quit in '09. I set the wine on the sideboard in the foyer. No one came to greet me. The dining room table was set, 8 chairs, 8 name cards in Mom's careful cursive. Lauren, David, Aunt Marie, Uncle Paul, Grandma Ruth, Grandpa Ed, Mom, Dad. No card for me. I stood in the doorway a moment longer than necessary, taking it in. The plates were the good ones, the ones with the gold rim that only come out twice a year. Lauren's place had an extra wine glass turned upside down beside her water glass, her signal that she was bringing someone new this year, though no one had mentioned it to me. I didn't say anything. I just walked in, found the empty spot against the wall where the buffet usually sits, and leaned there with my arms folded. They were already eating the appetizers. No one looked up. Halfway through the turkey, dry this year, the way it always is when Mom overcompensates, Mom tapped her knife against her glass. Everyone quieted like they'd been waiting for it. She stood. Small, straight-backed, the same navy cardigan she'd worn since I was in high school. "I'd like to make a toast," she said. Her voice was warm, practiced. "To the only child who actually made us proud." Glasses rose. Heads turned to Lauren. She smiled the small, gracious smile she'd perfected in high school debate. David clapped first, then the rest followed, polite, enthusiastic, automatic. Grandma Ruth dabbed her eyes with the corner of her napkin. No one glanced my way. I felt the air leave my lungs in a slow, controlled breath. Not surprise. Not even hurt, really. Just the clean snap of something that had been fraying for a long time finally giving way. I pushed off the wall. The chair nearest me, the one that should have been mine, wasn't there, so I had to step around the end of the table. My shoes made soft thuds on the hardwood. "Thanks for finally saying it out loud," I said. My voice didn't shake. It didn't need to. I'd practiced version that sentence in my head since I was 19, sitting in the guidance counselor's office, listening to her explain how community college was still a perfectly respectable choice. I turned toward the hallway, coat still on the hook by the front door, keys in my pocket. 20 steps and I'd be gone. "Wait." Dad's voice, not sharp, just enough weight to stop my feet. I paused with my hand already reaching for the knob. He didn't stand. He stayed seated, elbows on the table, fingers laced under his chin. The room had gone very still. Even the furnace seemed to hold its breath. "Tell them what you did," he said. Not a command. Not an accusation. A request, almost gentle. The first time in my memory he'd ever asked me to speak in a room where Lauren was also present. I turned, slowly. Everyone was looking at me now, really looking. Lauren's smile had faltered into something uncertain. Mom's glass was still raised halfway, forgotten. I let my hand drop from the door. 7 years ago, I said, when the mortgage was 3 months behind and the bank sent the notice, I started sending $5,000 a month, wired straight to the joint account. No questions. No ledger. You never asked where it came from. I never told you. The words came out even, like reading from a statement I'd memorized but never planned to deliver. Lauren's Law, school loans, private ones, the kind that don't get forgiven. I paid those off in 2021. $28,000 left after payments. Gone in one transfer. Dad's heart procedure in 23, the part insurance didn't cover, 100. Covered. The new roof last winter, 12,000. Covered. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. The numbers did the work. I never asked to be thanked. I never asked to be invited to sit at the table. I just kept the house standing so you could keep pretending everything was fine. Silence after that. Thick. The kind that makes your ears ring. Lauren's mouth opened, then closed. Mom set her glass down so carefully the stem barely clicked against the plate. Grandma Ruth stared at her hands. Dad looked at me for a long beat. Then he nodded once, small, almost imperceptible. "That's what I meant," he said quietly. "Tell them." I didn't wait for more. I didn't need apologies or explanations or sudden revelations. I'd said what needed saying. I opened the door. Cold air rushed in, carrying the smell of leaf mold and distant wood smoke. I stepped onto the porch, pulled the door shut behind me without slamming it. The driveway was full of cars. I walked past them all, got into mine, the one I'd bought used 3 years ago after the last transfer cleared, and started the engine. I didn't cry on the drive home. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt light in a way I hadn't expected, like I'd finally set down a suitcase I'd been carrying so long I'd forgotten what my shoulders were supposed to feel like without it. Back at my apartment, I made coffee. That, black, strong. Sat on the couch with the mug warming my hands and watched the streetlights come on one by one through the blinds. My phone stayed silent for 3 hours. Then it buzzed once. Dad. No message, just a photo attachment. I opened it. The dining room table. Every chair pulled out. Every place setting still there. In the center, where the turkey platter had been, someone had placed an extra chair, the folding one from the garage. No name card. Just the chair. I looked at it for a long minute. Then I set the phone face down on the coffee table, finished my coffee, and went to bed. Some things don't need a reply.